Having parents in their 70s has taught me that even a couple married for almost 50 years can still have disagreements. My mother and father disagreed about what to do about a sad tree in the backyard. Their area had a particularly hard winter a few years ago, and my father was convinced that the tree had suffered too much and should come down. My mother saw that the tree was still producing green leaves and wanted to try to save it. Thus, a small marital spat broke out. It got me thinking about conflict resolution at work. Unfortunately, unlike at home, you can't just call a professional arborist for an opinion. You have to be professional and work with these people collaboratively, especially in a leadership role. So, how do you resolve conflict on a team as a new leader? Let's take a look. One of the most powerful conflict resolution methods a leader can use is mediation. Recently, I was working with a leader, Sam. Sam was dealing with an all too common challenge, managing competing personalities on her team. Two of her team members, John and Lisa, were constantly butting heads over the priorities for their team. John was working directly with the end users, Lisa was working directly with the team building the product. John was adamant that one group of features would provide more value to the users and therefore had a higher priority. Lisa was convinced that the team needed to focus on back-end changes to improve the front-end user experience. While things never got outright hostile, things were tense. The team was deadlocked on how to move forward because both John and Lisa were highly experienced members of the team. Both of their opinions were valid and important, but it was up to Sam to figure out a path forward. Sam used a technique she learned from me in my program, her secret weapon, mediation. She organized a meeting in a neutral environment where everyone felt safe to express their thoughts and facilitated a conversation between John and Lisa. She encouraged open communication, active listening, and empathy. Sam implemented the skills I taught her and was able to guide the conversation to make sure each person's opinions were heard, really heard, not just passed over. And it was the same with the issue with my parents. My mother felt like my father wasn't listening to her side, and my father felt like he also wasn't being heard. So, how does mediation actually work? First, start by identifying the issue. This gives everyone equal footing and a shared understanding of what needs to be resolved. You should summarize what you believe to be the issue in a sentence or two. Then, establish some ground rules. Depending on how contentious the conflict is, these may or may not need to be detailed and explicit. The more hostile the conflict, the more important it is that everyone agrees to be peaceful, productive, and respectful. Everyone must agree to the rules or the mediation won't be successful. From there, you should give each person a chance to state their case so you can gather information. They should speak without being interrupted to show respect, even from you, the mediator/leader. That should be one of the ground rules agreed to at the beginning. After each person has had a turn to speak their piece, there should be time to clarify any questions or clear up any misunderstandings or confusion. You want these cleared up immediately. Now that everyone is on the same page and understanding what the issues are, you can start to work towards a resolution. Identify common ground. Find places where everyone can agree. For example, with John and Lisa, they both agreed that the customer experience was the most important thing to focus on. This helped them to build a rapport and remind them that they're on the same team working towards the same ultimate goals. Then, start to brainstorm solutions as a group. Encourage everyone to propose ideas. Remind them not to edit themselves and also reinforce that this is a safe space and no one should feel shy or embarrassed about their ideas. There are no bad ideas in brainstorming. This helps everyone to collaborate and work towards a solution together. Once you have some ideas, have a healthy, respectful discussion of each option. Talk about the pros and cons. The final solution may be a combination of ideas from multiple people. In fact, that's the best situation. John and Lisa were able to find common ground and come up with a solution they both agreed on. From there, work to reach an agreement on what the final solution should be. For John and Lisa, they agreed to a mixture of priorities from each of their respective areas of concern. Because they were able to have a calm, mediated conversation, they were better able to see each other's side of the story and see that they both had the best as intentions. As I learned when I worked at Apple, always assume positive intent. Basically, go into conversations assuming everyone has the best of intentions. No one really intends to come to work trying to be a jerk. Sometimes it just comes across that way when people feel strongly or are passionate about something. Once an agreement is reached, you should help them make a plan to put it into action. And be specific. Who specifically will be doing what? Lisa and John agreed on who would write requirements and put it into their project tracking system. After a mediation session is over, you should check in regularly to make sure the solution is still working. You may even want to suggest regular check-ins between everyone if the conflict has been long-lasting or was having a big impact on the team. Sam set up a bi-weekly touch base between herself, Lisa, and John to make sure everyone stayed on the same page and that they would have a space for discussing any potential competing priorities before tensions festered again. Sam perfected all those skills from working with me. She really helped create an environment where everyone felt heard, comfortable voicing their opinions and points of view, and wanted to collaborate together. And similarly with my parents, I was able to mediate a real discussion between them. And after really listening to each other, they decided to call a tree professional to see if the tree was able to be saved. Spoiler alert, it was. When leading mediation between team members, being a confident leader is among the most important, if not the most important skill you should learn. You have to be able to express yourself clearly, actively listen to each side of the discussion, and adjust your communication style for the situation as needed. If you need help being more confident in your role as a leader, check out my free guide to overcoming imposter syndrome, linked down below. Thanks so much. I'll see you later.